Hello, my name is JJ. I'm a writer, a reader, and a book lover from Colorado, and I really love crime and suspense. I also really love fantasy and sci-fi and a few other genres like young adult. For the most part, today I wanted to talk about what makes a book an immediate read for me. What are the things that will make it immediately enter onto my list, and what will immediately make me want to read it, and other books by that same author. This video is inspired by my current read, Safecracker by Jessie DeRoy. I got this one a few years ago at ALA, which is the American Library Association. If you are an author and you are looking for a way to get your book to libraries and librarians, look into the American Library Association annual conference. It is a wonderful opportunity to get your book in front of people and also get free copies out to reviewers, readers, librarians, magazines, etc. Kind of pricey, but if you can afford it and if it works for you, it's absolutely worth it. I refer to it as book Disneyland every time I go. Anyway, that's where I got this arc. But this book now available, so you can go read it too. I just want to start with the opening line because this is really an important element of how you get your book out there. The opening line, if you're prepared. The first time I killed a man, I was 11 years old. My sister and I had been raised by a thief to be thieves ourselves. Maybe if our mom had lived, things would have been different, but she didn't, and they weren't. Our dad brought us up as if he'd won Wimbledon, and his mission was to mold his children into the greatest tennis players of all time. Except, instead of spending our childhood with rackets on our hands, it was lockpicks and clocks. That is amazing, and hits one of the key things that I'm looking for every time I pick up a book. I'm really excited to continue reading this book, and I will absolutely be posting a review once I've finished it. The key things that are very important for me when I am looking into a book, reading a book for the first time, or deciding which one to read. Obviously, I have a few options. So whenever I'm deciding which book I want to read, this is what I do. I read the first line, I read the back cover. I don't usually personally look at reviews until I've decided I want to read the book or until I've actually read the book. Other times I'll look at reviews as a way to learn more about the book and about the plot and about the characters. Or if it's a book that I think I would be interested in, but I'm worried about different content warnings, right? So whether there's a lot of gore or if the storylines, especially with thrillers, involve any type of assault or battery, I want to know about that kind of thing, right? So sometimes that's when I'll look at reviews, but for the most part, when I'm deciding what books I want to read, these are the things that will always make a book be on the top of my list. Number one, does it remind me of any character in Leverage, right? If I'm getting Elliot Spencer vibes, if I'm getting Parker vibes, if I'm getting Hardison vibes, I'm in 100%. Doesn't matter. If I'm getting a heist crew vibe, I'm in 100%. Doesn't even matter what the con is, right? The same thing applies to other TV shows. So like White Collar, Money Heist. If it gives me that kind of vibe, I'm in. I'm there. I'm committed. That's thing number one. What are the characters like? Do they remind me of the things that I love already? If it's a crime story and we're diving in with a criminal who is actively committing or trying not to, as is the case with Safecracker, trying not to commit crimes anymore, trying to get out of that life, I'm in. I'm there. Another thing, dragons. Actual big, scary dragons, whether mythological or otherwise. If there are dragons and they are part of the plot and we're not looking at romantasy, right? I want just actual epic fantasy with dragons. If that is the case, it's going on my list. I want to read it. I want to know immediately. I want to know that this book exists, especially if there are people riding dragons like as a mode of transportation. I really need to read one of the books that's been on my list for a really long time, and I just haven't gotten around to it. I really need to read Six of Crows because fantasy, heist, magic. It sounds exactly up my alley. Another thing that will automatically make a book on my want to read list. So let's see, we have reminds me of my favorite things like Leverage, or especially if it's like, if it's a criminal committing a crime or getting away with a crime, I'm there, sold, I'm in, right? That's all it takes. I'm there. Magic and dragons, cool magic, like especially elemental magic. I never get tired of elemental magic. I am always 100% down for that. Great example of this is In the Cards by Emily K. Bray. Super interesting magic and world and accessible YA. So super fun, quick read, really cool book. What else makes a book an instant read for me? Fast reads. I like books that I can get through quickly. I'm not so down for a book that's like thousands of pages. I'm also usually, unless I've already read the author, I'm not that interested in authors that have been overhyped, right? So, as much as I think I might enjoy Brandon Sanderson's work, it will take a miracle at this point to get me to actually read anything by Brandon Sanderson because so many people in my circle have been talking about it for literally years. I'm afraid that if I don't like the book, I'll be disowned by my friends. And I'm sure I would like it, but that's something that makes me hesitate to read a book, right? So I want books that are not overhyped. In fact, I really enjoy reading books by lesser known authors such as Emily K. Bray and Jessie DeRoy. Also, it's really fun to see there are other books in the series. So I might have just found a new automatically purchased automatic read kind of author to me just because of exposure to that book. What else makes a book an instant read for me? Highly recommended by friends who know what I like. So the same thing goes for shows. I have one friend who, whatever she says that I would like to read, I read or watch. I'm like, yep, you know me, you know what I like, you know my preferences, you know what is triggering for me. I'm there. I'm down. You say I'll like it. I don't even need to know a synopsis. Let's do it, right? Authors who have taught me how to write. I'm much more likely to read something that an author who has taught me how to write has written, mostly because I already know kind of their like ins and outs. So books that I find at writers' conferences, I'm much more likely to read. Let's recap a little bit. So the things that make me automatically want to pick up a book. Recommended by a friend who knows my taste. That's step one, right? It really matters to me that my friends know what I'm interested in and know what I want to read before they start giving me recommendations, because it's not always just enough to know that I like to read. I do have some very specific preferences. Number two, a book that actually reminds me, or a storyline that reminds me of something I already love, right? So whether that is a TV show that I adore, that I rewatch all the time, has elements like those shows or stories, right? One of my favorite books of all time, you guys have heard me talk about it before, Sinner by Sharon Carter Rogers. Here we go. One of my favorite books of literally all time. This book is a supernatural suspense story. Follows a guy who gets prophetic dreams about bad things that are going to happen, and he decides to take it upon himself to stop those bad things from happening. Now, it's important also that you know he's been around since the 1800s. Bizarre characters, supernatural encounters in modern life, but not the kind that's like, oh, a ghost told me to do it, or a ghost is trying to stop me to do it. I like horror elements because of the things that supernatural creatures can tell us, and that the storylines and supernatural storylines can show us about our world, right? The things that really get to me, like, I love that in this book, a character who can heal while they sleep and gets prophetic dreams about bad things that are going to happen to specific people, and has taken it upon himself to fix those bad things so that they stop happening or that they won't happen, right? I mean, he's a vigilante, but he's a supernatural being who is a vigilante. It's not that he's, it's not a horror novel. This is in no way a horror novel. It's just a suspense novel with supernatural elements. And I really love that combination. It's kind of nifty and cool and different, and a fun way to do it. Because you get the mystery both of who is this guy who's showing up and stopping people, and then you also get this mystery then of, is he a good guy or a bad guy? Should we trust him? Anyway, so that's one thing. Like, that's another I love cool characters. I love cool characters. I love genres that get bent in funky ways, such as supernatural plus mystery without going into horror. I just think it's really interesting. I also, so let's see, we have books that remind me of the things that I love. We have highly recommended by friends who know my taste. Cool, twisty genre bending in ways that can really benefit the storytelling without having to sacrifice the genre. Other things that make me immediately read a book. I have worked in the publishing industry as an acquisitions editor and also as a book designer and as a cover designer, but also an interior layout designer. And the best way to make me want to read a book is to show me your opening line and to catch me with that opening line. Earlier, I read the opening line of Safecracker, and it caught me immediately because we have this character who killed somebody at 11. That's a little too young to be killing people professionally, but it still is a very effective hook, right? It's an intriguing character, it's an intriguing thing. I mean, the same thing happened with Everyone in My Family Has Killed Someone, which is over here. This one, right? Benjamin Stevenson, Everyone in My Family Has Killed Someone. The opening line for this, well, first of all, the title, super catchy title. That tells you a lot about what you need to know about this character, right? Super on brand title. Additionally, the first line, Everyone in my family has killed someone. Some of us, the high achievers, have killed more than once. That tells you everything you need to know whether or not you want to read this book. Now, it is not a book about serial killers or a family that kills together. It's not about that. What it is about a family who has a streak of bad luck. Some people have killed intentionally, some people have killed accidentally, some people are doctors and have had patients die on their table. Um, some people are murderers, right? But the whole family has killed someone, every single one of them. And that is a very interesting dynamic to have as a family dynamic for holiday dinners. And that catches me immediately. I mean, that kind of concept of dark and twisty, but also comedic. That's a good, I do like some lightness. I like some humor. I like some just, you know, even if it's dark humor, I like to laugh in the middle of these intense scenes. I like to laugh in the middle of these intense scenes. So that's something that I look for in the books that I'm reading is to be caught in the first line. If I'm not caught immediately, I'll usually give it about a page, but if I'm not caught, I'll put the book down, give it to somebody else who's going to enjoy it more. Other things that contribute to the books that I like to read, authors that I already know I love. I know that I love Mike Nappa's writing. I know that I love Sharon Carter Rogers' writing. I know that I really enjoy Benjamin Stevenson. His style is hilarious. I'm going to really enjoy Jessie DeRoy. I'm really excited about discovering that author. Those are the things that I'm looking for. Another thing that contributes to whether or not I'm going to pick up a book is what the pacing is. I don't mind slower paced books when they are still focused on the plot. But if things get lost in the weeds because of too much backstory, when we have plot unraveling, and then it takes an entire chapter to get to something interesting, I'm not interested in this book, right? It is now time, as an adult, to only read the things that I actually am enjoying reading. And coming to terms with that has been a really interesting mental switch. Like, I don't have to finish a book just because I started it. On the other hand, sometimes I do because it won't let me go. That happened with Carter Wilson's book, The New Neighbor. I put it down for 4 months because it was getting a little too twisty for me. And then I decided I have to power through because it won't leave me alone. I'm still thinking about it. I have to know how this book ends. That's exactly what you want from a thriller writer. You want to not be able to actually leave the world behind. So, I mean, that's the case for any writer, actually, thriller or otherwise, especially if I am thinking about this book 24/7, that's a good sign. And that's the kind of thing that I'm looking for in the books that I read. And I think that's the kind of thing that we're all looking for in the books that we read. I just think that having been working in the industry for over a decade, my tolerance for things that I am not immediately captured by has shifted toward non-existent, right? The things that I like most about reading are getting lost in a book, taking the time to focus in on something, and then finding new characters and scenarios that entertain me. Most of the time, I'm best entertained by suspense, but that's not always the case. Like, I just read A Wrinkle in Time and I loved it. That was so good. I really enjoyed A Wrinkle in Time. I did not expect it. It wasn't the kind of book that I thought it was going to be. I guess in my brain, everything I'd heard about it was sci-fi and classic, and so my brain immediately assumed that it would be a little bit more like Frankenstein, and it was a lot more like Narnia, which is super fun because it's written for children. It was a very quick read, very easy read. I could read it in like 2 days, essentially. 10 out of 10. I read it because of Stranger Things, actually. That's another thing that I really love is when works interconnect with each other. So Stranger Things season 5, which I'm not going to give any spoilers, but Stranger Things season 5 being so attached to and interconnected with the plot line and the characters and even just different like ideas, we'll put it that way, different ideas from A Wrinkle in Time. That was so fun to me and it made me want to read A Wrinkle in Time. I've had it on my shelf for years and it finally made me want to pick it up, right? So that's the kind of thing that I also really love. Mike Napa has these books, the Coffee and Hill novels, and they're all connected in some way, shape, or form to Edgar Allan Poe, right? So Annabelle Lee, The Raven, A Dream Within a Dream. We have all of these connections to other writers, and that kind of interconnectedness is part of what makes these books so fun for me to read. Benjamin Stevenson does that too, actually. He has in Everyone in My Family Has Killed Someone, he has a few forewords, usually. Are they not in here? Hold on. Ah, yes. So we have the membership oath to the Detection Club. This is how he opens the book. He also has, with a dog ear here instruction, I'm not making that up, it literally is there, all of the rules, Ronald Knox's 10 Commandments of detective fiction, right? And in that, he's making a promise to you as the reader that he's going to follow all of those rules. And if you're paying attention, and he asks you to pay really close attention, calling back to those sequences, right? In the foreword, or in the prologue here, he mentions, by the way, if you're just here for the gory details, you can skip to these page numbers. Deaths in this book either happen or are reported to have happened on page 14, page 46, page 65, a twofer on page 75, and a hat trick on page 81. Then there's a bit of a stretch, but it picks up again on page 174, page 208-ish, page 218, page 227, page 249, somewhere between page 243 and page 250, it's hard to tell, page 262, and page 355. I promise that's the truth, unless the typesetter mucks with the pages. It's so clever. He's talking directly to you as a reader, and I love that. I love that so much. Anyway, this turned into just me talking about books that I really adore, and if you know of any other books like the books that I mentioned here, or even other stories like shows and movies, I mentioned White Collar and Leverage, but I also really enjoy the Now You See Me movies, Now You See Me, Now You Don't, Now You See Me Too, all of those. Ocean's 11, right? Those are so fun. Bullet Train, which has books and I need to read them. If you know anything like that, and if anything I've said has made you say, she would like this book, please put it in the comments. I really want to know. Or even if it's like she would like this movie or this TV show, put it in the comments. Let's chat. I read and watch pretty widely for genres. Obviously, I'm mostly talking about crime suspense here because that's my preference. But I have also thoroughly enjoyed like the Percy Jackson novels because who doesn't love the Percy Jackson novels? All that to say, those are the things that make me want to pick up a book. Those are the things that make me want to keep reading a book. And those are the things that keep me entertained and focused on the book while I'm reading. Are those the same things that apply for you? Is that what you're looking for from books? Of all of these things that I mentioned, are those similar to you? Let me know. I want to hear about it. Give me your recommendations. Give me the things that you think I might like. Happy reading, happy writing. It's so fun to be here. I am aiming to be more active on my social media this year, 2026, hoping to give you more content because life got really busy, and I'm really hoping that this year my life will settle in enough that this can be a priority again. But otherwise, there's a lot of other videos on my channel. Maybe you'll be interested in any of them. You can check them out here. And until next time, I'll see you then. You can follow me online at author JJ Hanna. Check out all of those links down below. They're all in the description. And until next time, I'll see you then. Bye.